So in this scenario, you are watching your little brother, and he's being annoying and starts swinging this yo-yo right here, this yo-yo, around in a circle. The length of the string is 1.5 meters, so right, 1.5 meters right there. If he spins it around 20 times in 5 seconds before releasing it at the purple circle, so he releases it right when it's here, he lets go of the yo-yo, where will it hit and how fast? So where is it going to hit? So if you think about it spinning around this way, so it's going to spin that way, and your options are, is it going to hit the cat, is it going to hit a flower pot, or is it going to hit some little girl? Which one? Just think about it for a few seconds. Which one do you think it's going to hit? All right, now that you've had a chance to think about it, the correct answer is, to figure this out, you just draw a line, a straight line from where he released it, like that. It's always going to go that direction. So it's going to hit the flower pot. All right, and the second part of the question is how fast. Remember, how fast. The physics way to say how fast is called, you guessed it, velocity. Velocity, which is always going to be change in position over change in time. So let's figure out what that change in position would be and what that change in time is. So in this case, we don't really know how much it's changing position. All we know that it's spinning around 20 times in 5 seconds and the length of the string is 1.5 meters. But we can do something with this information. So if you look at this 1.5 meters isn't just the length of the yo-yo, it is also the radius of this circle right here. And we can figure out what the circumference of this circle is. So I know most of you had Mr. Pierce for geometry, and I hope he taught you this, that circumference, the length around a circle, is equal to 2 pi r. So the circumference in this case would be equal to 2 times pi times 1.5, which is going to be about, what is that? 2 times 1.5 is 3 pi. It's going to be 3 pi. That is the circumference. So it's changing position by 3 pi. But how much time does it take to do that? Well, we know that it spins around 20 times in 5 seconds. So that means, how much does it spin around in 1 second? So how many times, or how many seconds does it take to spin around 1 time? Because now I need to get seconds. Well, it was 5 seconds and 20 times. It's really fast. So that means that was only 5 divided by 20. That's 0.25 seconds for just 1 time. So that's 3 pi divided by 0.25. And at this point, you would probably need a calculator to do this math. So that would become, go ahead and get your calculator out if you want to follow along with me. 3 times 3.14, that's pi, divided by 0.25. And that gives us 37.68 meters per second. So that is how fast it was moving, and of course it's going to hit this flower pot. So while we just figured out what this equation is, what you're going to see on your equation sheet, if you look at the 3rd page of your unit guide, it's going to say Vt is equal to 2 pi r over capital T. All this means is when something is moving in a circle, find the this is circumference. Circumference, because that is our change in position, then divide it by the number of seconds to spin around, which we call revolve, one time. So that top is circumference, the bottom is time to complete one full revolution. All right, without further ado, let's do a practice problem. So you go ahead and do this on a scratch sheet of paper. You can do it in your head. You can do it on a sticky note. I don't really care. So practice problem. Similar thing, but instead, let's say it's a Ferris wheel. So maybe some kid here. And then there's some Ferris wheel. And you can hold on to this little thing here. This kid is spinning around. And the radius of the Ferris wheel is 8 meters. So this is 8, the radius. The Ferris wheel makes 3 full revolutions in 60 seconds. It takes about a minute to rotate 3 times. It's pretty slow. So, what is the velocity of the kid riding the Ferris wheel? I just realized Ferris wheels don't look like this, so I'm gonna make this more appropriate. So Ferris wheel, it's a really tiny one, look like this. So this is gonna be 8 meters, and might be a little cart, make it red. I was thinking merry-go-round, but it's a Ferris wheel. And some kid is riding it. All right, so now go ahead and try to solve this on your own, or at least set it up before I go in and use the equation this time. All right, so looking at this equation up here, Vt is equal to 2 pi r over t. So Vt means tangential velocity. It just means velocity of something in a circle. So Vt is velocity of something moving in a circle. So in this case, the kid is moving in a circle because he's going around like this. And again, if he were to suddenly be dropped right here, he would just go straight down like that. Anyways, and this is equal to 2 pi r all over t. So again, t is how many seconds it is to rotate once. So he rotated in 60 seconds, he rotated three times. That means to rotate once, you would do 60 seconds divided by 3, which would be t is then 20 seconds. And our r here is 8 meters. So VT is equal to 2 pi times 8 all over 20. So I got my 20 there. I got my 8 from the problem right here. To simplify, that's 16 pi over 20, which is, now it's time to use the calculator. If you do not have pi in your calculator, you have to use 3.14. So 16 times 3.14 divided by 20 is equal to 2.5. So this is 2.5 meters per second.